Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. I offer my humble obeisances also, or my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. BhaktiVedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to my spiritual master. So today we're reading from Bhakti Program Manual, Fortunate Souls. And we're reading from chapter number 2, the relevance of the Bhakti Program. And Hare Krishna. I'm reading from the heading entitled Questions and Answers About Breaking Up Families. Question: doesn't the Bhakti program break up families? Reference number 86. Actually, I think we addressed this one already. So this is the heading, subheading, husbands and wives. What about a married person who joins the Bhakti program? What if the spouse disapproves of the decision? The Bhakti program director should encourage the husband and the wife to take part if they are both inclined. If the spouse is not inclined to practice Krishna consciousness personally, but is sympathetic, there is the possibility for compatibility. Intrinsically, a marriage without God in the center becomes an abysmal failure. However, God-centered marriages, such as those in the East Indian culture, have flourished for centuries practically without divorce. Heading: Questions and Answers About Education and Careers. Question: what if, because of participating in the Bhakti program, a student decides to forego a college education and working towards a career? If the student becomes a householder, wouldn't his opportunities for interesting and lucrative employment be hindered? Answer: a 3-month course itself is not long enough to prevent one from pursuing either of the above. In Krishna consciousness, learning is emphasized, not abandoned. Rather than studying how to gratify the senses and questionable theories, such as Darwin's theory of evolution, the student in the Bhakti program studies the absolute truth and his eternal function as a living entity. Krishna consciousness is the highest education. So-called education without Krishna consciousness is avidya, ignorance. Idam hi pumsams tapa shrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayoho avichyuto rita kavibhir nirupito yad uttama shloka guna nuvarnanam. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.22. Whether a Bhakti program graduate develops his career as a Vaishnava Brahmana, performing important temple service, writing books, teaching, and helping to expand the Krishna consciousness movement, or if he takes up an occupation outside of full-time temple service, the transcendental benefits gained while in the Bhakti program will protect him from becoming implicated in the modes of nature. Narada Muni states, Taktva sadharmang charanambujam harer bhajanapakvo tapatet tato yadi yatra kvava badram abudhamushyakim ko vartapto vachatam swadharmata. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. The time factor ruins all material things, including education and careers. Recently, I heard a true story of someone who worked 30 years for a company. A few weeks before he was scheduled to retire and receive his pension, the government-regulated company dismissed him and many other senior employees by artificially declaring a bankruptcy to avoid paying retirement pensions. In addition, we can consider the question with regard to the laws of karma. If a person is destined according to his karma to acquire wealth, he will acquire that wealth. If he isn't, then he won't become wealthy despite his career choice. Moreover, if one surrenders to God, then the Lord personally arranges for one's provisions, independent of material calculations. Reference 91. Just like the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they were very exalted personalities, minister in government. Still, they resigned from the service and joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. That is the history. All the direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very big personalities. Just like Rupa, Sanatan, they were minister. And then Bhatta Raghunath, Das Raghunath. Raghunath Das, he was coming. More than minister. His father and uncle were the biggest zamindar, landlord in those times. And he was the only son of the father and the uncle. Huge estate, beautiful wife, everything. He left and joined this movement, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. Similarly, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he also coming from a very aristocratic Brahmana family in South India, and Sri Jiva Goswami, the nephew of Rupa Goswami, in the learned circle, still in Bengal. They say such a big scholar in philosophy, there was none. And nobody expects a similar philosopher and learned scholar in the future. He was such a big personality. Jiva Goswami. Lecture by Srila Prabhupada, June 13th, 1976, Detroit. Subheading, Career or Duty. Let us replace the word duty, dharma, with the word career. According to Bhagavad Gita, every soul should offer everything they have, everything they think, everything they eat, and everything they do to Lord Krishna. Arjuna did not have to give up his career as a warrior, but he had to give up the greedy mentality of trying to be the enjoyer of his career. So in that sense, the Bhakta program will teach the candidate how to work in a way that will please Krishna. If one wants to work and try to enjoy the fruits for himself, his family, or his nation, then he is a fruitive worker, and he is already ensnared by heavy illusion. He and his family are bound by material reactions, karma bandhana. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yagyartat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work binds one to this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. Bhagavad Gita as it is, 3.9. Subheading Opportunity Choices. Consider a person who could have been an actor. He began his youth as an actor, but then he became a stockbroker. It could be said, stock brokerage ruined his brilliant career as an actor. Everyone has to make his choices at various junctures of life. We can't do everything. The person may feel that his decision to be a stockbroker was more prudent in many ways. Giving up one career does not mean giving up all careers. Reference 92. Even if you think that if I take to Krishna consciousness, join this international movement, I will be deviating from my real duty, so that also you can do. What is your real duty? This is temporary duty. Suppose you are a very nice Brahmana or nice Kshatriya, nice businessman, nice politician. Your career will be lost if you think by joining this Krishna consciousness movement, your career will be lost. Don't think like that. It is still profitable. Even if you give up whole career and simply join Krishna consciousness movement, then your life is success. That is being stressed. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya. Lecture by Srila Prabhupada, September 13th, 1973, London. From Krishna's point of view, renouncing a mundane career for a devotional one is a wise decision. A career as a devotee of Krishna is glorious. Let us compare the worth of devotional service to Krishna to a material career. Devotional service to Krishna brings unlimited transcendental knowledge and bliss, and gives one the opportunity to associate with Krishna eternally. An ordinary career, on the other hand, may give some so-called respect in society, some transient monetary rewards, and temporary mundane satisfaction, plus an excellent opportunity for ulcers, early death, and horrible karmic debts to repay. Subheading: A hierarchy of duties. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that our first and highest duty is to quote, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. Reference 93. So either scholar, rich man, big politician, all of them gave up their material occupational duty and joined Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sankirtan movement. Lecture by Srila Prabhupada, April 9, 1975, Mayapur. Then he suggests a secondary duty. Quote, my dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain me. Then the Lord offers a third duty. If you cannot follow the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Here we have a hierarchy of priorities. A career as a devotee situates one in the first or second category, according to God, and is preferred by Him. Heading: Questions and answers about undesirables. Question: the Bhakti program may bring persons of unknown background into the devotee community. What about the mental and physical health of these people? Couldn't they pose a threat to the safety of the members of the community? Answer: yes. Chanakya Pandit said that as a whole forest can be destroyed by one tree with a fire in its hollow, similarly a whole family can be destroyed by one bad son. Reference 94. Prabhupada: no, no. Unless our men are trained up, why you should allow to stay here and to wife? We want trained up men, not third class picked up. We want men who will follow the rules and regulations and fully trained up. Otherwise, we don't want. We don't want ordinary karmis. And if he agrees to be trained up, then we'll take. Otherwise, what is the use of bringing some useless men? He must agree to produce his own food and work. Our rules and regulations he must follow. Then it will be ideal community. Otherwise, if you bring from here and there some men and fill up, that is not a good thing. This is a training institution to become devotee. Room conversation with Srila Prabhupada, August 1st, 1975, New Orleans. However, this does not mean that out of fear, the center should not attempt to enlist new devotees. If necessary, mature, concerned devotees should form a review board to consider Bhakti program candidates. Subheading, Sanity. Srila Prabhupada told a story of a man who had committed a serious crime and was on trial. The defense lawyer claimed the defendant was not sane when he committed the crime, and therefore he should not be held accountable. So the judge called an expert psychiatrist to analyze the man. After thoroughly examining the defendant, the psychiatrist told the judge that in his opinion, everyone is more or less insane. It is simply a question of degree. We must consider the line of demarcation between those who are merely disturbed in mind and those who are unfit to live in an ashram situation. One of the 26 qualifications of a Vaishnava is that he is sane. Of course, Vaishnava training makes one sane, but here are four important factors in this determination. 1. Whether the person has been hospitalized for mental disturbance. 2. Whether the person has a history of violent, aggressive behavior. 3. Whether the person has shown a tendency towards suicide or masochism. 4. Whether the person has a history of sexual deviancy. If the answer is yes to any of these questions, temple authorities should be careful about admitting the person into the program. Although the Bhakta program provides counseling, meaningful relationships, and a structured God-centered lifestyle, it is not a substitute for psychological and psychiatric therapy. The Bhakti director, in consultation with the temple president and other senior Vaishnavas, must expertly discriminate between those capable and those not capable of residing in spiritual communal environments. Subheading: Some strings attached. A new person entering the Bhakti program usually brings materialistic habits and ideas that are inappropriate for Vaishnava circles. Reference 95. I am writing you this letter in great haste on account of being concerned about a Mayavadi sannyasi being present among you. Therefore, if he completely surrenders to our principles and lives as other newcomers live, then he can be allowed. Otherwise, there is no need of his staying with us. Letter from Srila Prabhupada to Satsvarup, 28th December, 1975. Their speech and modes of interaction, as well as the thoughts that fill their minds, are terribly mundane. In addition, sometimes they bring physical material attachments, like stereo players, karmi books, cars, photographs, etc. They are inexperienced in habits of cleanliness and ignorant of Vaishnava etiquette. Reference 96. Gurudas. There's one thing I wanted to ask you. A lot of youths are coming, Western youths, some hippies, but mostly clean, some hippies, but there are two hippies. I saw what they were like, and I didn't allow them to stay. But mostly our camp is, until the devotees come, there are some tents that are empty. So they say, we need a place to stay. Is it all right? So I said, tonight you can stay, and then I'll let you know later on. And we preached to them. We have a morning program there, and we have an evening program. So they attended. So I thought with your permission, I could erect some tents, not in our living area. The chokidars I put outside right on the gate because I didn't think they should live in our area, but they should be there. So the chokidars have a tent. I thought behind the pandal I could erect some tents, or even behind our tin, where people wouldn't see them so much. We could invite some guests, charge them something for living, and preaching to them. Prabhupada. "Mm, but they smoke." Gurudas. "Yes, some will." Prabhupada. "That is bad." Gurudas. "So, I mean, it's up to, I'm asking what you think." Prabhupada. "They will drink, they will smoke, they will not take bath. These are the defects. These people are unclean." Gurudas. "Yes, suppose they are willing." Prabhupada. "It will spoil the cleanliness of the." Gurudas. "Of course, they would not be in our camp." Prabhupada. "It may be, but that association is very undesirable." Gurudas. "Yes, yes. What if someone is willing to follow the regulations?" Prabhupada. "First, they should be shaved, clean shaved. Will they accept that? They must take early in the water, take bath. Cleanliness." Gurudas. "No, they won't do. So I won't have that. I just thought it was a preaching opportunity." Prabhupada. "Preaching, if there is not clean even, what they will understand." Gurudas. "Well, when I came, I was not clean either. By your grace, I cleaned up." Harishari. "They won't clean up." Gurudas. "No, no, I accept what, you know, I want to do." Prabhupada. "People may not misunderstand that this is hippie camp." Gurudas. "Yes, the police were sending, and I went to the Mela officials." Prabhupada. "Therefore the police came. They thought that you were hippies." Gurudas. "No, I don't think, because this was before they came." Prabhupada. "Anyway, their association is not good." Gurudas. "Yes, so we won't have. Definitely not." Harishari. "We have to make a good impression." Prabhupada. "Yes, that people may not think this is another edition of hippies." Gurudas. "So we won't have it all. We we have a general list of when everyone's big programs are." Prabhupada. "Many are coming, hippies?" Gurudas. "There's a lot. There's a lot." "Well, yes, there's a lot." Prabhupada. "So you consult among yourselves, but people may not have a bad impression." Gurudas. "I think I will not do it, because if you think there's any small chance of them associating with us." Prabhupada. "Alpa chidre," a small white cloth and a small black spot. It becomes prominent. Morning discussion, January 8th, 1977, Bombay. Just doing a reading. Uh, no, this is I went online and somebody joined. Okay. Okay, thank you everybody. Hare Krishna. If you'd like to be part of the Bhakti program, please let us know. Hare Krishna.